Hello. The issue we'll be discussing today is lack of access to voting centers that causes low voter turnout for certain populations for eligible voters, specifically the 18 to 24-year-old demographic, which historically is the demographic with the lowest voter turnout since the 1960s. We look to improve this trend in the coming elections. Research conducted by Statista shows all 18 to 24-year-old demographics have low turnout, but specifically they found Hispanic and Asian voters had the lowest percentages. A rise after the 2008 and 2012 presidential elections has seen Black voters voting at a higher rate than exhibited in previous elections. This historic trend of low voter turnout in this age range is something we look to correct, as there are a myriad of reasons why this disturbing trend takes place. We believe it is as important as ever to get all eligible voters to the polls and get them an opportunity, if they choose, to have their say in who represents them at all levels of government. The organization I represent is a logistics organization that specializes in operational efficiency and doing more with less. Securing funding for this initiative would see voters gain more access thanks to the resources provided to them by our organization and your funding. This organization has no political affiliation and is purely logistics based. Other aspects of our company are exploring choke points in existing operations and looking to alleviate them by providing manpower or other resources and applying them to problem areas. This is not limited to a single industry, as we have subject experts for all operational needs. Our voting process is an example of something we'll believe we can help make more efficient. This issue impacts all of us in this country that are impacted by the American political system. Educating young eligible voters on our process is an investment into the future of this country that needs to be prioritized going forward. If eligible voters do not exercise their right because of operational failures, we feel that should be corrected and aim to do so with potential funding. All voters that are able to vote should be able to take place in a process that makes our political system different from others. No one should be limited on voting because they're unable to get to a voting center. If they wish to vote, they should be able to vote. We look to fix this as 18 to 24-year-olds are hit hardest by lack of resources, and this is shown in their voting numbers. Moving forward, if the young people of this country do not have the experience of voting, we risk losing an entire segment of the population and their choice of representation. Elections will be skewed as not everyone gets to participate, thus leading to elections that can be shifted to not represent the best interests of all participants. Our system thrives on participants from all walks of life to create diverse outcomes. Our political system is not built for low voter turnout elections. Our system is built to give all a choice, even if they choose not to vote. We want to give everyone the choice to vote if they want to and not have to worry about if they can afford to do so. This can be seen by individuals not being able to get a ride to a voting center, or a voting center not even being near them in some cases. An issue that is caused by low voter turnout is entire communities not getting a vote on items or positions that impact their day-to-day lives. Our system states to give equal representation, but when it is harder for some to vote than others, how is that equal? We look to use resources to fix this issue, as any eligible voter should be able to vote on what impacts them daily in all types of elections. Our first potential solution is allocating funds to rideshare programs for citizens to get to voting centers either from their place of work or home. This will help voters that do not have a reliable method of transportation. With funding, we could ensure the program would not cost voters anything and could be a similar program to that of carpool, safe, reliable, and 100% free to use. Our second potential solution would be to increase staffing at all voting centers. This would help more on the operational side, as our aim over time is to increase voter turnout. We will need to increase staff at all locations. Utilizing data, we could find areas that struggle with longer waits and start there. This would also be an evolving system as populations change in areas. We look to staff them appropriately. Pairing with our last solution, we would look to make wait times more tolerable. This can be accomplished by providing snacks, water, and shelter needs depending on climate. Warmer weather climates would look for fans and cooling agents, while in harsher, colder climates, we look for temporary shelter so that voters are not exposed to the elements quite as much, all the while maintaining compliant regulations. With funding, we would look to use larger schools, arenas, and stadiums where allowed as larger voting centers. Using existing infrastructure that can handle larger quantities of people at once can be beneficial to making the voting process run smoother. This could benefit from our staffing initiative as well and make for a smoother process for all voters involved, creating one solution. Specifically, the company I represent can oversee these initiatives and ensure they accomplish the goal of making voting more accessible to those that need it. With our company, it would be purely operational. Nothing involving politics other than the operation we are overseeing is related to the political system. Once the voter is inside the voting center casting their ballot, our job is done. With increased funding, my company can ensure the staffing needs of voting centers are met. Across all industries after the pandemic, we have seen staffing shortages plague all operations. We are looking to keep our voting centers from having to experience that. Plus, alongside our allocation techniques, we look to ensure all voting centers are properly staffed for the volume they expect come election day. One benefit we all will see from our initiatives being successful is previously underrepresented demographics, mainly the 18 to 24-year-old demographic, gain representation or at the very least the chance to gain representation in all levels of government. Our main level is to provide an option for those wanting to vote come election day. We look to keep can't out of the vocabulary. Another benefit of this initiative would be an investment in the future of our country. The 18 to 24-year-old demographic, while all voters would benefit from operational improvements, hopefully the future of our country would gain a renewed interest in upcoming elections and participate at higher levels. This would pay off for years as we hope to not lose an entire segment of voters in the future. An overall benefit not limited to a certain voter demographic is more eligible voters participating in elections leads to our country's elections accurately depicting its citizens' wants, needs, and at all levels of government. Our system is built for participation. This ensures the opportunity for participation at all levels. Creating that interest is important for all voters. Our company believes that whoever wants to participate should be able to. Our aim is to provide the resources for those without them so that their voice can be heard come election day. Everyone deserves the opportunity. Whether they want to vote or not is their decision, but at the very least, the opportunity should be presented to them. This should be a bipartisan issue in which all should work towards a solution.